Hey, everybody. I have Coach Ken Darting with Shawnee Heights High School on here today. Coach, you guys went 19-3 during the season this year. You won your sub-state championship last night against a really tough St. Thomas Aquinas team. You guys pulled that one out 64-62 in overtime. What can you say about your team and just how your season's gone so far?
Well, I think it's gone great. You know me, unless it's perfect, I'm not happy. But I think we've done a great. I think Aquinas is the best 5A team in the state of Kansas, and it's a shame they're not going to be in the state tournament. But what we've done is take a step almost weekly. I mean, we've been better almost from the first game. We lost our first two games of the year, by the way, being 19-3 to DeSoto and Piper, which were 1-2 in the state. And we just got better and better, and we really just kind of fell our way through till Christmas. We got that 10 days of practice time in, and we just kind of started taking off. Kids grew up individually, and they started learning about we, not me. Playing together, helping each other, and so I'm happy. I don't know about happy. I'm okay with where we're at now.
And you just said that we, not me. That's an old phrase you used to use at Highland Park. It means team, not individual. How well does your team understand we, not me, and is that kind of how your team plays?
It's just exactly. What's funny about that is, if you'd have asked me that question a month ago, I might have thrown something at the screen. But no, they really do. Some, as always, there's some resistors, there's some that don't want to give up the ball, don't want to give up their points, their rebounds. But once they see what happens when you do, everybody's ready. And I really feel right now we're getting we're going down on breakaway layups. Instead of taking the layup, they give it to their teammate for a layup. And if I filmed the game last year, you wouldn't see that, I promise. But it's been a process. But I really feel right now that they do understand that phase and know what it's about.
Now, you said that you guys started the year 0-2, then you won 7 straight, and then you guys lost the game to Blue Valley North. But since that loss, you're on a 12-game winning streak. And you're playing really hot. I mean, you guys beat St. James in the first round of sub-state 63-40. Brennan Dodge has been like a machine for you here lately. He had 23 in that one, 20 against Aquinas. What can you speak of on Brennan Dodge and just you guys on that 12-game winning streak?
Brennan's really special. He's he's always been a shooter. Came in as a shooter. He started playing for me in the 5th grade and was a shooter. But that was it. Now Brennan Dodge is a big-time player. I mean, he's taking it he guards the other team's best guard. He shoots a high percentage. He just carried us in a lot of games. And he's special. There's not a lot of guards around better than Brennan is.
And now you guys are on that 12-game winning streak. What's been
I didn't even know that. I'm glad you told me. I didn't realize it was 12 games.
What's been the biggest thing with your team to keep on this winning streak you're on?
Well, the biggest thing is growth individually and as a team. The understanding of what winning basketball is and what you have to do to be good. That's the first, and they've learned that. And then second of all is they got a mean, nasty coach that yells at them all the time about staying in the moment. Don't forget those 12 you're just talking about. Where, as you know, remember from Highland Park, I always say we're 0-0. We're playing Piper. We played Piper 10 days ago and beat them and tied for the league championship. A 2-point game. Was that overtime, I think? It seemed like every day in games overtime. But anyway, a 2-point game, and so we know what they're about, and they were the one them and DeSoto beat us in the first 2 games of the year, and we came back, beat both of them, at the end of the year. So I just think we have bought in to the system, bought in that team does beat individual. Team is more fun to play than individual. Sacrificing, making choices that ain't fun, choices that are they're going to get you what you want, but you don't want to go through it. I think they understand that that's the way to go.
Now you kind of just spoke about you guys playing Piper again at state. You guys got the 5 seed, they got the 4 seed. You went 1-1 against them this year. Now this is your first trip to state as a Shawnee Heights coach. You've been to, I'm pretty sure I have it right here. You've been to 7 state title games. And you got 4 state championships at Highland Park and 1 at Silver Lake. So you know what it takes to get the job done. And now that this is your first year going with Shawnee Heights, what's it going to take for you guys to get the job done?
It's funny because I just now walked in from practice, and I told the kids this afternoon, don't let people tell you it's just another game. There's so much stuff. And I really wanted to go last year. And we blew a 4-point lead in the last 30 seconds to not go. And I know we had no chance there last year, but it's good to get there. Even if you get beat, it's always easier because you're going to see things and know what's coming and kind of at least have an idea. When you haven't been there, other than as a spectator, there's just things like interviews and newspapers and large crowds screaming against you or for you. Different referees, not worse or better, just different way of calling the game and make adjustments to referees. Has to be done interviews and time schedules to keep and travel and don't get there too early. Get to bed right. Give up, I guess, life for a week, and that's what we talked about today. You can have a whole bunch of fun after this week. Start enjoying again, but right now there's things got to be taken care of, and you need to be in it, not go out and they throw the ball up and you say, oh God, I didn't expect that to happen. I want them going through every scenario. I said it's like Murphy's Law. Anything that can go bad is going to go bad. I talked to Coach Bloomquist twice today, but he said they started 17-3 in the finals of the sub-state and then got beat. And that's what I want my kids to understand. You play Lansing, you be up 17-3, you're probably not going to blow it. But everybody you play this week, if you don't play 32 minutes, you'll get beat. And then the other part is you got to be you. If you're a shooter, you shoot. If you're not a shooter, you don't shoot. You play defense, you rebound, whatever. But whatever you are, we need you to be at your best. And I think for the first time, they understand that conversation. We'll see how they apply it. But I think they understand it. It makes sense to them now.
Now, the other night, I think it was yesterday, you guys played Aquinas, or is it? It was 2 days ago you guys played
Friday.
Aquinas.
Yeah, Friday night.
I think it was Pomeroy that hit the shot was it force overtime or was it to win the game?
To win the game. Is in overtime.
Was that the play call or was that kind of
Well, yes and no. The play call was to have B drive it and look shot, of course. And the big guy helped out. He dropped it to Deacon, and he finished it at the gun. So yes, it was, isolate post and clear one side for B to go, and then he got to make the decision, shoot it. If you remember the 2009 state championship at Highland Park, it was Cannon Fields that dropped it to Mike Copeland, almost the identical play for the win. And it was set for one of those two.
Now, how where does this trip to state rank in your mind, just on all the trips you have gone to state?
Well, I told our kids, that's always the question. I think I've got that question every time we go to a state or we win a state, and it's a good question. But how they rank, I mean, you're going to have spatial moments or a spatial play or a spatial kid that night. I mean, I could tell stories about VR Barber being my hero who played 7 or 8 minutes and figured big in us winning the state championship in 08. So it's just different. What I'm about and what makes it fun. And people also ask me, I coached 10 years in college, and they say, what's the difference in college and high school? Well, the difference to me is it's a lot easier in college because if you want to play fast, you go recruit kids that can play fast. You want to play power game with big kids, you go recruit big inside people and throw it to them. So it's easier. You get to practice all the time, no limit. Workouts, people lifting weights, people in meal plans. It's all laying there for you. High school, you get two gangly six kids walk in, can't walk and chew gum, and you got to play post and power forward. So you got to develop them, and you better find them as freshmen, and you better start spending a lot of time with them so they're helping you as juniors and seniors. Or you got no post and a bunch of little short jets. Now you got to press and fly all over and run the floor and play that way. So you got to change anyway. But what it is with me is watching that happen. That's it. I always said, and Kyle Williams used to say, "You mean it too, Coach." And I said, "Yeah, I do. If I could, I'd do away with the games and just practice." I love practice, and I love watching those two gangly. I got one right now, 6'5" freshman that everybody laughs at, and I'm excited as heck about. 2 years from now, he's gonna be 6'7". He ain't gonna be gangly and clumsy, but that's what I love about high school coaching. And when I retired at Highland Park, I didn't rule out coaching again, but I said if I do it, it will be a bad program and close to home. I'm not traveling 2 hours anymore, and I'm not. I got no interest. I got enough time to try to build one more program. And my first year there, when Shawnee Heights called, they called me. I was doing a clinic with darting basketball up in Valley Falls, Kansas, and the phone rings, and Coach West, the principal at Shawnee Heights, asked me, "How would you like to be the head coach at Shawnee Heights next year?" I said, "Well, I have no idea how I'd like that. I mean, I don't that's the program." But he said, "Well, would you come by and talk to us tomorrow?" I said, "Yeah, we finish here at noon. I'll stop in afternoon." Well, I went and I told him about the hair policy and the classroom policy and going to class and shaving your face, and yes, 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 and yes. I said, "So when the animals come after me, you're going to support that?" He said, "Most assuredly," and he has to the T. Now, as you notice, we don't have it anymore because there was a lawsuit at Shawnee Mission South 2 years ago that ended all that. But I still tell them how ugly they are if they got long hair and how beautiful they are when they got it short. So, but it just came together. I wanted a bad program. I got it, but I wanted a program that wanted to be good. And when I talked to the administration out there, I got nothing but good vibes about they are going to support me. They're going to allow me to build the program. And they did. They have not turned anything down. They're wonderful. They've supported everything we've done, and we got there. But anyway, it was so bad, and I got there in the middle of July. Well, 4 of the 6 weeks for summer's over now.
Yep.
Oh man, we hustle them up and throw them together for 2 weeks and try to at least learn their names before the summer's over. And find that we got one starter back, really one that played any varsity or very much varsity at all. Well, guess what? The dumb coach throws him off the team the second day of summer workout. So now we got none. But usually when I take a job, I have a 5-year plan and I write it down to myself. Where am I going to be 5 years from now? And, but I decided that year to wait because I'm getting there 2 weeks. I don't even have it would just be a shot in the dark. I don't even know names of players. I don't know if we got any players in school or whatever. So I waited 1 year. Well, I pulled it out the other day and I laughed because it says, we will be good enough to be playing for a state championship in 24 and 25. And we're 1 year ahead of schedule then. But with that said, that's your goal and that's what you're driving for. And I had a former player that was on that first Shawnee Heights team. He saw that and he said, Coach, we can't even win a game. How are we going to win a state championship? It's going to change. It's going to change. We're going to win a game and then we're going to win 2 or 3. So, and that led to 12 and then 14, 15, and now 19. So we're there. We got a bunch of young kids playing so we can go, we're going to get better. And, but that was the thing. I got a text from Jaron Sanders, who's Robbie Sanders' son. You probably know Jaron. And Jaron was a sophomore on that first team, and his class grew every year, and we got better. And they really laid a good foundation for where we're at. They didn't win a lot of games, but they won 14 games. But he said today, Coach, I wanted you to know I always believed in the vision. And I said, well, that's what it's about, buddy. Jesse Jackson said you have to perceive it, believe it, and achieve it. And where we was at, nobody could perceive it. How you going to teach somebody anything that they can in their mind see? But like Jared said, I believed in the vision. So if you buy into the vision, now we can at least perceive a state championship. We can, honest to God, think there is one. Then we got to work hard enough and win enough to believe it. And it took 2 or 3 years to get where, we're as good as them, but we beat them in the regular season. We can go to the state. And I think now we do. Now all that's left to do is achieve it. And that's something everybody that ever played basketball wants to do, but very few have done it. So that's the tough part, but we're excited as heck. And me, like I said, let me practice and go. I want to. Some people leave leagues, they jump into lousy leagues, they do anything, but schedule non-playing teams in their off season. I hate that. If I'm sitting on the bench yawning, I want to leave. This group has played the best. They played the best 6A and 5A, and that's what makes you go. I've had so many people, of course, Shawnee Heights fans, but they talk about, man, you got teams that's no good at all, got records and are getting seated ahead of you. And I said this, and I told the kids this, and I believe it. The state tournament, unfortunately, not enough people support this argument because they like easy wins. But the state tournament, the ideal state tournament is have the 8 best teams in the state of Kansas in the tournament. And if that happens, then there is no easy night. You got to win 3 great games. You got to play now. A true champions emerges. When you get somebody that's got a 500 record that comes in and somebody gets upset in the first round, all of a sudden they're playing in the championship game, 5 and 15. That ain't a system. That's not a good system. That's got to change. And so I'm excited. We're going to have to beat a great Viper team. I mean, you're going to enjoy watching them. We already had to beat maybe the best team in 5A in Aquinas. And no matter what somebody says, go watch St. James. They're good. They're good and well coached. And then you get this. If you win this, you get play undefeated Maize South. And if you win that, then you play. I'm assuming we'll play St. Thomas, or what's the Catholic school there in Wichita?
Capon.
Capon, I'm assuming, or Highland Park.
Just kind of looking at the bracket right now, like you just said, you get Piper for the third time. You win that, then you'll pretty much probably play May South.
Yeah.
And then you get to the championship, and if Highland Park beats Andover in this rematch game, then you could probably be playing against Highland Park for state championship.
Highland Park or Capon, I think, one of the two.
And I think if you were to get Highland Park in a state championship game, Darting versus Williams, I'm pretty sure the White Auditorium will be a packed house like that Highland Park Ottawa game was in Salina.
Yeah, well, that's the all-time leading attended game in state history. And we're not, we're not at that realm yet. We're one of the, I don't know, 4 or 5 teams on the outside looking in. We're capable of beating maybe anybody. We certainly proved we can beat a lot of people, but we're not a household name. I mean, somebody asked me with 2 weeks to go, 4 games to go, some sports writer called and asked me an up-and-coming Shawnee Heights team. I said, I don't know what you mean, but we ain't lost since the first week of the season. But you just don't know it. You don't know it. People, we look at the rankings, we're ranked 9th, 10th with whatever you told me, 12-game winning streak or something, with losses to the 2 best teams in the area the first 2 games of the season. So we've been winning a long time, but we're not, and I don't think I consider us one of the elites or great yet. But that's why I'm excited about playing them, because when and if we beat them, we all of a sudden join the elite. So I'm tickled pink to be here. And if we lose in the first game, I'm good, and I know we're better because we got in the state and get a chance.
Coach, you retired from Highland Park in 13-14. You went to the state championship that year at the Expo, and you guys lost to, I'm pretty sure it was Lansing.
Yep.
The year before that, you went to the state championship game, and you lost to Ottawa. Yep, it's been 10 years since you last went to state, and now it's moved from the Expo to Emporia. How much do you kind of like the White Auditorium, or do you prefer the Expo Center, or does it really matter to you?
I think White Auditorium's my favorite arena in Kansas. It's a great shooting. I played there, and my son used to have his tournaments at Silver Lake there. I love White Auditorium. I think it's built intimate where it seats enough people that everybody can get in, but it ain't got a bunch of empty seats in the place. So it's a fun crowd to play with. I love it. I liked one thing about the Expo Center, and that was it's close to Highland Park. We had a 10
down the street. Period.
But it's a lousy playing venue. Its depth and size and everything is not good. So I wasn't even coaching when it made the switch to Emporia, but I'm tickled pink that when they decided to put 5A, and I had talked to the Activities Association for 10 years about moving it to White Auditorium. I just think it's wonderful. Other than, like I said, we could jump in the bus and go to the auditorium in 10 minutes, and now it takes whole 50 minutes. So it ain't a big deal. But I'm glad to see it in Emporia.
Yeah, and you kind of nailed it on the head just a minute ago when you said 1 through 8, this 5A bracket. Just looking at it, 1 through 8, it's tough. I mean, there's not. I mean, you got May South is 22-0, but Great Bend's even a really good team, and they're 17.
Well coached.
Yeah, and well coached.
Brooks from Manhattan High. It used to be at Manhattan High when I coached.
DeSoto might be the best 4-loss team in the state. And
if they're not, have that team play them and see what they think. Terrific.
And then you and Piper are both 19-3. Piper's well coached. Highland Park's 21-1. They're extremely athletic. Capon's 19-3. I'm pretty sure they won state last year.
Mm-hmm.
No, they took.
Here's the one that won the state. They're 18-4, Andover.
Yep, Andover beat
Andover, everybody every year sells Andover out and they end up in the Final Four, me included. Every year they go, I say, well, play in the Ark Valley League. It's not very, but when it all clears, they're in the championship game, or I think they won it 2 years ago, if I'm not wrong. But they're a team that's seated now 7th or 8th or something. And Andover can beat anybody in there, I promise you. They can beat anybody in the Topeka West had them down 17-3 the other night and got beat. Andover's for real. Great coach, and kids that play the game right. Those kids will pass the ball 51 times if they have to till they get a good shot, or they'll pass it once and shoot it. But it's going to be the shot they want, I promise you. So you don't even hear Andover. Nobody even talks about it, but they can beat anybody. And they're 7th or 8th?
They're the 7th.
8, and they're 7th, I think.
8, they're the 7.
Yeah.
Like I said, Capon, Highland Park, Andover, DeSoto on that bottom side. That bottom, I mean, there's not an easy game.
Nope.
There's not an easy first-round game in the state tournament this year down in Emporia. But, Coach, I just want to tell you congratulations on making it back to state and your first time at Shawnee Heights. And good luck Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, and it means a lot. It means a lot to the kids. They look forward to seeing you.
Yes, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.